Hello everyone watching at home, you're with Sarva McClinton from Adelaide Eternal, bringing you another 7-minute 7-point series deck tech. This time I'm doing a deck tech on Protec Attac, which has a double slash in between. Because it is a meme, you both protect your cards and you attack. Now, let's look at the actual deck itself. It is a 5-color control slash midrange slash combo deck. You can play the role of any of those three according to the situation at hand. Now, the first option that you can have is using your control package here to simply play your essentially pseudo control game. So you don't have enough counters and hand disruption to be a hard control deck, but you still have the ability to also play your mid-range game. So you have removal and mid-range cards here. These are the iconic mid-range cards that allow you to grind through into the middle of the game, and your late game is a possible combo using Unburial Rites or hard casting your really, really big threats. Now, all of these things seem to not really go together well. That's because the key is in Gifts Ungiven and Intuition. These two cards here allow you to make really, really awkward piles for your opponent that either allow you to get a large amount of value or combo off. So first of all, let's look at Gifts Ungiven. So Gifts Ungiven, in this particular deck, you have the opportunity to get maximum possible value off 4 different cards. It's very rare that you get to do this with Gifts Ungiven decks because usually you're simply going for Unburial Rites and Griselbrand at the end of your opponent's turn. They are forced to discard both of those cards because you didn't search for all 4 cards, and the following turn you play a Griselbrand for 4 mana, and then you're obviously very far ahead. However, this deck specifically allows you to grind in the mid-game, especially with Gifts Ungiven. So if this is the first time you've ever cast a Gifts Ungiven, try this package. Go for Life from the Loam, Chemister's Insight, Lingering Souls, and Unburial Rites. Now, all of those 4 cards simply generate value from the graveyard or from your hand. The threat of an Unburial Rites in the graveyard going into the late game, or in your hand, ready to return any one of your value-generating creatures, is enough of a threat for them to have to dump it in the graveyard. Then, you get to simply see what your opponent chooses between your variety of different other cards. 2 Zombifies in a row are something not to be underestimated, as are 4 Lingering Souls tokens, 4 possible cards, 3 to 4 cards, depending on how you look at it, and Life from the Loam, which is the engine that allows you to simply draw 3 cards every single turn in your draw step. They all happen to be lands, but when you couple them with cycling lands, they're essentially real cards. Now, the question comes up here, is Intuition good? Now, Intuition is very good in combo decks. Now, in this particular deck, you really want Life from the Loam. You operate on the principle of ABL, always be loaming, and Intuition is yet another way for you to get Life from the Loam. When you have Life from the Loam, your games are very, very easy. So let's look at Intuition packages, because these are a little bit harder to look at. So first of all, think about the matchup. If you're against control, try getting Life from the Loam and your 2 cycling lands. These will allow you to grind value out all the way through the mid-game, through to the late game, and outdraw your control opponent, whilst hitting all your land drops. The more land drops you hit, the easier it is to cycle every turn. Against aggro, you can get Punishing Fire, Grove of the Burn Willows, and Life from the Loam. This will ensure that you're able to get Punishing Fire, a removal spell, with your Intuition at the end of their turn, and then you can start burning out their creatures. This will help you stabilize in the mid-game, and then in the late game you can close. Now, there's a more finely tuned package that you can use to grind. So if you've never tried Intuition piles before and you want to try and actually get grindy value off it rather than treat it like a combo card, go for Liliana the Last Hope, Colligan's Command, and Snapcaster Mage. Between this, it's basically a nightmare for your opponent. They're always giving you disgusting value some way, whichever way you look at it. Now, in the really late game, you'll find that you're always loaming, as I said before, ABL, always be loaming, and you will end up hitting 8 to 9 mana very, very consistently and very easily. Now, in any of these fair matchups, you'll find that a nice Intuition pile in the late game is Griselbrand, Borborygmos Enraged, and Unburial Rites. Basically, This always gives you access to Borborygmos Enraged. If they give you Unburial Rites, you return both of these in the same turn, which is a nightmare for them because you'll draw through your deck and basically lethal them, so they cannot give you Unburial Rites. They can give you Griselbrand, and you simply untap and hardcast Griselbrand, drawing 7 cards. So essentially they'll deterministically give you Borborygmos Enraged, which is the least scary threat, even though it is terrifying. So then you simply hardcast Borborygmos Enraged. If you've loamed that turn, and you have access to 10 mana in the same turn, which again is very realistic for this deck, then you simply cast Life from the Loam, have 3 lands in your hand, send 9 damage at their face straight away, pass to them, they have to remove Borborygmos Enraged. When they kill it, the following turn, you return you cast Unburial Rites from your graveyard, recasting Borborygmos. In your draw step, you will have Life from the Loam, and you'll send the remaining 9 damage for 18 to their face. So that's the least scary of those 3 options, which puts it in perspective. The rest of these, the possible packages, all of those ones that I just talked about, they all apply to Gifts Ungiven, except that Gifts Ungiven is just intuition on steroids in the late game, because they give you all of those options plus a 4th card. Now, the rest of the deck operates very straightforward, like a 5-color, essentially 4-color control deck, because you're really splashing that white for Nahiri, but the removal package here is just the best removal medley of all the colors. The threats are all the best threats of all those colors, and the combo here allows also sneak attack, which almost always deterministically ends the game if you have access to Griselbrand. Cards here that look strange are things like Izzet Charm, which are counterspells, removals, but also in this combo deck, it allows you to dig for Griselbrand when you've got a sneak attack out. Then you simply activate it, Griselbrand, attack for 7, draw 7 from there. Did you see Borborygmos? No, draw 7 again. Did you see Borborygmos? Basically, when you see Borborygmos, sneak attack him in, and then all the lands that you would have drawn in that process, send them at their face. So it usually wins the game on the spot. Let's have a look at the sideboard. The sideboard is relatively straightforward. So we have our anti-control package here. Now remember, if you're against a control deck and you're in game 1, you'll have a very, very, very good time, because once you find Life from the Loam, you just grind. In the sideboard, you'll note that they will bring in Graveyard Hate, and Graveyard Hate is a nightmare for you. So what you need to do is just bring in other good cards, side out some of that combo, keep Loam in, but don't expect to rely on it. You can use, a sneaky Wasteland here or there, but usually the Wasteland is there for their manlands, so you can kill a creature land that is threatening you. Against creature decks, you have the ability to stabilize here with Wrath effects and things against Price of Progress, Blood Moon, and so on and so forth. And then against your combo decks, figure out exactly what is appropriate in your meta, and obviously Ancient Grudge is fun because you have that little flashback there. So tailor it according to the local meta. See what you think of Protec Attack. It's a very, very fun deck. It is arguably the most greedy deck in Highlander at the moment. So if you like greed, and greed is good, enjoy sleeving it up.